It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Well, hello, model citizens. Welcome to Trains in Tech. I know a lot of people are over still watching Dave Thurber pour some epoxy resin. It seems like, I don't know if it's quite for the first time, but it seems like it's a new experience. So if you're over there watching, I'm rooting for him. I know what it's like to attempt to do something new during a live stream, and it's interesting. It's exciting. So yes, Mr. Lynn McCurdy, it is showtime. We're trying some stuff tonight. There's some stuff going on in the background. We'll see if it pops up and people notice it or not. Who knows? Who knows? But the goal for tonight is to test out these automotive switches that I got and see if they're DCC compatible. And we're going to see if I can get them working on the layout behind me, because while I've got the main line wired up, I haven't wired up any of the additional stuff. Lynn says, Dave's water looks great, just didn't have enough water. Yeah, I heard he's about to do a second pour, which is pretty exciting. So I do have a poll running tonight for anybody that loves polls. Will the switches work, referring to these automotive switches, or will I release the blue smoke? I've got a little bit of news for you. I do actually know the answer. I do know the answer, but I'm curious what you think the answer is. And let's see what out there. Let's say hello. Let's see who is here today. So we've got probably a lot of people still watching Dave, which is good. But over here, hanging with us, getting this stream started, we've got Stephen from Wigwag Workshop, the High Plains Railroads here, Dennis from Otter Creek and Rio Grande, Andrew, Mr. Pictoven, Mr. Jimbo, Trains, Lynn McCurdy and the High Desert Modular Model Railroad, Curly Express, also known as Dwight, is here, Jeff the Railroad Enthusiast, Gerald Stewart's in the house, FL Railroad Dog is here, Drew Dudes Model Trains, Don Head, Gary Creepy013, Cody Reisinger is here, Andy Ambrose, and Andy Estep. Andy Ambrose, welcome. It's getting late for you. Andy used to be around a lot, if people don't know, and then Andy had to go back to work, and now we don't get to see Andy anymore. Talking about Mr. Ambrose, of course. So let's see. I now have a Facebook community page for this railroad behind me. I finally came up with a name for it. The name that I came up with is... Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? I'm just trying to open it up so I can show everybody. It is the Riverside Transfer. It's basically named after the Riverside Park is what's outside, and I really like the 69th Street Transfer. I am modeling a transfer bridge myself on this layout, as well as a yard right next to it that's kind of like the New York Central Yard, although not really, but kind of similar-ish. So that's where the name comes from. If you are on Facebook, you can check it out there. I do also have Discord. I do also have an email list. All of those links are in the description. If any of that stuff interests you, I think that would be really awesome. Oh, and one thing I want to do that I just realized is not showing up. Let's see if I can get to it a different way. Let's go here. Is it here? Let's try. Yes, there we go. Oh no, it's not, work's not fun anymore. Yeah, work was fun when it was, when we were kind of on our own doing a little bit of a free-for-all, so, but now we all have to be responsible. Yeah. That would be very interesting. That would be very amusing if that happened. I gotta do this. So what I'm looking for is YouTube just rolled out a new feature for everybody. Ron Moen wants to know, is the poll what we want to see happen or what we think will happen? What is the gift about? What are we talking about? Facebook community. Sorry, I'm doing stuff and things happen. Yeah, there was no live stream. It just sort of... it was a thing today. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna go to my YouTube page. I'm trying to do something that should be interesting. If I can make it happen. Yep, looks like... Oh, yes. I can do it here. So I'm curious what's going to happen. New YouTube feature just rolled out for everyone. There you go. Yep, this is what we're talking about, is what Wigwag's asking about, is they now have something called gifted memberships. So if you, when you now click on, poll is rigged. If you click on the little money icon, not only can you do super chats and super stickers, but you can now gift memberships. And it didn't show up, I think it should have showed up in everybody's chat, but basically now you can donate memberships to other people. So I'm guessing... it says Wigwag was gifted a membership by Human City Junction, so it looks like that was one of the gifts that was given out, and I'm curious, we'll see, hopefully the other 4 will be given out, and we'll see how gifted memberships work. I don't really know, but I thought we'd try it. Speaking about gifted memberships, I do want to thank all of the members, either on YouTube or on Patreon. Yep. It looks like it came through from Wigwag. It looks like Curly Express was gifted a membership. The High Plains Railroad was gifted a membership. I don't quite know how it chooses who to gift memberships to. I think it's just kind of random. But just the idea, Ron Moen was gifted oh, Andy Ambrose bought some memberships for people too. Looks like Ron Moen was gifted a membership by Andy Ambrose. Tim from CP368 Productions was gifted a membership by Andy Ambrose. So it's just another way to support channels, get more people involved in the community. So I'm just going to run the thank you page. It obviously doesn't include these new members, but I appreciate everybody that that is members and joining, and that's using my sponsors and all that great stuff.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
So things are happening, which is good. Which is good. Things are going, seem to be going forward. Yeah, Mr. McTovid has been a member for 16 months. You thought it was 13 months? Yeah, I started this channel of March of 2020. I got monetized in March of 2021, and it's now 6/28. Yeah, so it should be 13. I don't think it should be 16. Although it does say member for 16 months. I don't know how it works, but it will. Yeah, I'm gonna have to update the membership scroll more often now that we do gifted memberships. So gifted memberships add you as a part of the member community. You get a little like logo at the end of your name showing that you're a member. You turn green instead of white. What I've started to try and do too is like I've posted the thank you video as a members only video, so people can see that. I don't really do a lot of member only content right now because I like to keep the content as available and open for everybody as possible. But memberships are, are there to support the community, support the channel, help get this crazy railroad that I got going on behind me. Lynn, you are a pro at something. We don't know what that is. But yeah, my live stream has more potential for smoke and explosions, which, there's a lot of wires here. It could be interesting. Yeah, so the cars that are up there, let's see, do I have I think that's the best shot I have. There was well, it's not a 4-car set. There were 4 cars released by Carstens, Carstens, which I believe is a publisher from Model Railroad Craftsman, maybe. And what it is Railroad Model Craftsman. It actually shows it right there. So they're heavyweight cars made in the style of circus cars, but they were released over a period of time for Carstens. There's one more that I'm missing, a flat car. Apparently it was much harder to find, and I haven't been able to find it yet. But yeah, one's like a 40th anniversary, one's from, looks like 1969, and if it goes back the other way, hopefully I'll be able to see what some of the other ones are. Yeah, Andy says, Hal Carstens. Yeah, okay, so one's 2003 for the 70th year, one is 1973 for the 40th year, and the other one is from 1969. So I thought they'd be fun for that. Wigwag says, I think it's time to move away from Patreon and move your support here. Yeah, either way is great. I've been trying any member-only stuff that I post, which right now is mostly just the thank you roll. I try and post it in both locations. It's up to you. It's really up to you. I'm not going to get rid of Patreon, but we'll see. One other thing I do want to mention before we get into testing the switches is there is a YouTube channel called New Tracks Modeling, and on July 13th I'm going to do a presentation on the time saver and just sort of talk about why I made it, how it sort of works, you know, why I built it, kind of how it came about, different technology that I'm using and stuff like that. So if you want to see me make a fool of myself, I'm not the presentation type. I like more this like talking and interactive thing. So me getting up there and just doing like a 45-minute presentation should be very interesting. I will send out a reminder for July 13th, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I will be doing my own stream on the 12th, so I'll keep reminding people. But you could always head over there and subscribe now and check it out. They do their format, the way they do their format is essentially it's a Zoom call that anybody can join, but it's a Zoom call and then they broadcast it to YouTube, so you could watch it on YouTube or stuff like that. Yeah, I definitely did not save any time making the time saver. It has definitely been more of a time suck than a time save. So yeah, the High Plains Railroad says, Heath, I'm actually tearing down an HO layout and putting up an N-scale layout in my basement. I'm also been asked to do a layout for our county fair. That's really pretty cool. As people know, I like my different scales. We've got the O scale and the LGB going by up top. I'm really enjoying that Ivy Land and New Hope locomotive. The way it just creeps around is really, I'm really enjoying it. Andy, they do. They do. That is a very true statement. So yeah, so we got Facebook community for my layout. Gifted memberships, we've got the new tracks modeling thing coming up, and the only thing left to do that I've been hesitant and putting off actually getting to is these switches. So Gary from Creepy013 says, Heath, you have more scales than a fish, which is true. So we haven't gotten to the scales yet. We're just getting there now, but if you like polls, you can jump in and answer the poll. Right now, it's 50-50 Blue Smoke DC compatible out of 34 votes, so I appreciate people's confidence. So here's the plan, and this is kind of the goal. Here's the map of the layout right here. So the time saver is kind of its own little thing. The main line is on the motorman, and I've got a double pull, double throw switch on the motorman, so I can either shut it off, or it can go on the motorman, or it could go on the DC side of things. Yeah, just plug them in and let them rip. We will definitely get there. So what these switches are for, so this bank of 8 is actually the bank of 8 switches for the main yard. And we're going to work on this orange track today here just for testing purposes. We'll get that wired up and then run the train on it. I've got a bank of 3 switches for the industrial area over here. And then I got a bank of 6 switches over here. This will enable me to turn off every single one of the tracks on the layout. Don't know how useful that's actually going to be, but we'll see. DB Tech says, I don't think the switches will smoke, but if they don't have gold contacts, your DCC will not work. Well, there you go. We definitely do not have gold contacts, definitely not gold wires, definitely not gold contacts. So DB Tech says not gonna work. Let's turn around, and I'm gonna use this camera right here now, and I'll try not to be too herky-jerky. But we'll see what's going to happen. So right now, this track right here is not wired up, but I do have some feeder wires under here that do run to that track. So what we'll do is we'll use the first output on the switches. Actually, I probably just put them right there. We'll use the first output on the switches to connect this up. And the other thing that I have is I've got over here already hooked up. This is some 16 gauge wire running to a little block that I can wire things up. No, these switches do not have DCC decoders in them. All they are, They're automotive switches, 12 to 24 volt automotive switches that you would put in the dash of your car to run auxiliary functions. So that's what it is. Yeah, it is good quality switches. These are, you know, I don't know that I'd call them good quality. But, so I've got the blue wire and the red wire kind of on the, or not the blue wire, the black wire's on the blue. The red wire is on the orange. So we're just going to, we're going to get that wired up. For someone who loves tech, why don't you just use an inexpensive tablet and connect JMRI and use their track layout with a switch? Then you just touch the screen to switch. That's how the time saver's set up. This section of the railroad has so many turnouts and switches on it that for now, I'm not wiring it up for DCC. These switches are not to throw turnouts. These switches are to turn on and off track power. So that's it. No AIU, no DCC. Well, DCC is running through these switches, but these switches are not in any way DCC controlled. So, okay, so track power is off. So I'm going to connect the black wire to the blue, and I'm going to connect the red wire to the orange. So what's going to happen now is, theoretically, when I turn on the track power, come on, Andy, nothing's too simple for me. So now when I turn on the track power, keep an eye on these switches right here, and we're going to see what they're going to do. I'm kind of just waiting for the train to go past. I'm going to turn the train off because we're going to start actually testing that train once we get it past the turnouts there. We'll move it on to DCC control and get on that. Okay, so actually, let's just do it this way. So we've got the remote right here, and we are going to turn track power on, and there we go. So essentially now these end up with Dina, it's really just for blocks. It's to have very different block, or not very different, but to have multiple different blocks. And instead of putting in block detection, right now I'm just putting in dummy switches because these dummy switches are significantly cheaper than block detection. And essentially now when I want to turn on a section, I would just flip the section on and the red light will come up. Nothing is hooked up right now, so nothing came up. But what I can do now is I'm going to get in front of the camera here, throw the switch. So I'm just dragging, I'm just dragging the train onto this track right now because this is going to be the first track we're going to set up. I do kind of like the lights because, so one of the things that I do all the time is I go to try and run a locomotive and nothing runs. It says don't drag it that far. And nothing runs, and I can't figure out why things aren't running. And the reason it's not running is because once again, I've forgotten to turn on the track power. So having these lights light up that show that I have track power, it's just sort of, it makes my life a little bit easier. It makes my life just a little bit easier. So we're gonna turn off the track power right now, and you probably can't see it, and you probably can't see it unless I switch camera views at all. Let's move over here a little bit more. So right here, I've got feeders wired in, and they run down here to the bottom. So what I am going to do is I am just going to, so the blacks are all just going to get bundled together, and the reds are going to go to the various switches. So if I move this over a little bit, Would you rather me do an unboxing than wire my layout so we can run trains? Is that what you're saying? So for now, eventually I'll put fork connectors on this, but for now I'm just going to knock the trains off the track. I'm just going to fold this over and stick it through the hole here and just bend it over. So I do have sound off on this locomotive, so when I do turn the track power on, we won't hear any sound. So the only way I can test it is essentially to run it. Okay, so yeah. Come on, Tina. We gotta have confidence. We should check the poll. Actually, now before I do this, let's end the poll. So the poll right now says 49% blue smoke, 51% think that I'm actually going to make this happen. So we'll see. Andy says no unboxing. I've got to get some sleep tonight. Just kidding. I'm sure that won't harm it. It's a Kato. I'm not too worried about it. So we'll see. The Plumber 33 says it's gonna work. So let's go back over here. Oh, I just realized it's only 8:26. If I get this working in the next 4 minutes, I don't know what we're gonna do for the next half hour. So let's hope it doesn't work. Anyway, so we're gonna come over here. We're gonna turn track power on. We'll see the red. So this is, I guess, when, if the smoke's going to happen, this is probably when the smoke's going to occur. But we'll turn the power on here. So now, theoretically, we've got power going to that track. Let's see, can you see the remote? Kind of. So I just selected the locomotive. No, I didn't. Select, press, address. Oh, 111. Come on. Menu 111. Nope, it's turning on functions. There we go. 1111 function. There we go. Okay, so now we got the locomotive selected. Switch is thrown to forward, and look at that. So I turn off the switch and it stops. Turn the switch on and it keeps moving again. I can flip it to backwards. It'll start running backwards. And if I throw the switch off, it stops. Throw the switch on, it starts up again. And lo and behold, it works. So that's pretty exciting. Restart. So now, all I've got is all these wires underneath here that I need to hook up. And so theoretically now, I should be able to reverse the locomotive all the way onto the main yard. Not the main yard, the main line. Uh-oh. Or not. All right, so it works here. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work when it gets to right there. It stopped. So I'll show you why it's doing that, because I actually know why it's doing that. If we go back to the drawing, yeah, right now that I'm done, what else is there left to do, right? So here's the drawing. Uh-oh. Stop. Z-Scale is having a little bit of fun. I don't think you can see the drawing. It's probably easier as a screen share, but it's more fun this way. So I'm on this orangish yellowish track here, and where it's stopping is when it hits this blue here, right there. So what I need to do is, I don't need to hook up the red because, or maybe I do need to hook up the red. So I need to hook up the red and I need to hook up the black on these two. These two are actually electrofrogs. Everything else here are unifrogs. These are electrofrogs because they're code 55Ys. They're not turnouts. So I needed to wire them as electrofrogs, so I had to add feeders to each of these because you have to isolate the frog. So That type of switch, I'm thinking of the other switch. Yeah, and I know I keep saying switch, and I know it's getting probably a little confusing because I'm talking about the automotive switches, and I'm talking about the turnouts, and I'm talking about all kinds of stuff. So I get that it's, I just saw, geez, it worked. That was boring. I know. Uncanny how much this is like the wind-up. Yeah, yeah, Andy, he missed it. It worked, right? It worked. Well, I mean, we do, the train is stuck right there, right? So let's wire up a couple more things to get the train moving. So what I'm gonna grab is I'm gonna grab the red wire. I'm grabbing the red wire from that blue track, which is the first runaround track. And I'm going to connect this blue wire to output number 2. So now I'll have one train on block number 1 or whatever, depending on how you're counting it. And then I'll have this other one. There's no unboxing tonight, unfortunately. Although this is kind of an unboxing in that, you know, this is taking forever to wire things up. James says, as Heath always states, you could start over. I could start over. Let's see. No unboxings. Heath, can I start over? No. All right. So now I've got this track here is on this switch, and then this runaround here is going to be on this second switch. But the other thing I still need is to hook up. I've got these 2 black wires right here that I need to hook up, and I think these are the only 2. I think these should be the only 2 other wires that I need to hook up. Now that you turned it over, it makes sense. So I think this might be all I need to do. Let me wire in the black wire from that section just to get it wired in. I don't think I have to wire this one in, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I've got these. I'll actually show you. Let me pull it out in a second. All right. Wires are a little short to run this on top of the layout, but let me grab something real quick. So Pete Soretta actually got some of these, and I found them through him. But what I'm gonna do, DB Tech, I'll explain that in 1 second. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this little bus here for all the black wires. So all the black wires will go to this, and then all of the red wires for each of the different blocks are going to be on a different switch. So right now, the power's on, and I can see that because it's red. If I turn on this block right there, I can now move that train backwards, right? So that train now goes out of the way. I can now run that train forward, maybe, hopefully. I should be able to. Oh, I got to turn the motorman on to, I have to throw the double throw on the motorman because it was now on the main line. But if I crank it up now, so now it goes forward and it'll go backwards on just this section right here. But if I try and go past this section right here, you'll see in a second that it's going to stop. And the reason it's going to stop is because I've got the one block turned on. Oh, yeah, there we go. I've got the one block turned on, but I don't have the other block turned on. So to get it to keep moving from here, I just turn this other block on, and now it'll keep moving. So the reason I've got all these blocks set up is just so that if I do want to leave the sound on the locomotives, I can turn them all off individually. The other reason I really have all these blocks is so that I can do block detection. At some point in the future, I want to be able to do block detection. So now I can run the, run the train into the yard with everything on. I can back the train up out of the yard onto the main line, and we'll do this. Black on the switches for the LED. Yes, correct. So I move that out of the yard. Now I can throw that switch and bring the train back across on the main line. So we can essentially now, I have various blocks wired up. It's kind of DC wiring on a DC C layout. So, train, there you go. Train goes to the main line, heads over to the time saver. Now I can, yes, that block would have to stay on. The one that is I'm answering this question from Joey. Yeah, Joey, that one block is the first runaround. So I can, sorry, I'm going the wrong way with the throttle. I keep doing that. I run the wrong way with the throttle all the time. The first block is this first runaround here. And if I move these cars out of the way, I should be able to, I think, basically drive this train onto that first runaround and then stop it. I do see what Joey's saying. I guess theoretically I should have double gapped it, not on these turnouts. I should have left these turnouts as a separate block. But the reality is that this block right here that the train is running through right now, it's, the switches are probably all going to be on at all the time anyway. So James, big secret. No, Heath does not know what he's doing. I don't know. Let's see if I have enough trackage here to actually pull this all the way out of the yard this way. And then we'll back it up. Oh, you can't see it right now. So we're pulling out of the yard here. And then I'm going to throw this switch here. Now we'll back up down the main line. Yeah. Yeah, Tina, I gotta, I found these switches. They work for me. This switch block, by the way, is going to get mounted down here on the fascia. So it's obviously going to be out of the way. But now, now I've got that inner runaround hooked up. I've got one of the yard tracks hooked up. So, I guess people are wondering what happened. Well, so it turns out you've got to throw the switch. If you don't throw the switch on the turnout, you're going to derail your cars. The turnouts confuse me. I use Kato plug and play. Give me a second, actually. I'll talk through the turnouts that I'm using. Oh, and Rick's asking for a link to the switches. Let me post that up in the chat real quick. They make all different sizes of those switches. They make them in red, blue, and green, and they make them in I think like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 switch configurations. So automotive switches. So these are the switches that I'm using. Let's see. Heath has a smoke machine. I thought about you can get, like, magicians have this thing you put in your hand that you push the button and it like sends out sparks. I thought about getting those. Yeah, I know, it's a little bit of clickbait. I actually knew it was going to work ahead of time, but you know, it was for a couple moments I wasn't sure. Yes, yep, I will leave that one block on all the time. And yeah, I'll probably leave the runaround on anyway. Very rarely would I actually be turning off the runaround. It's more for just block detection. Heath, I might have missed this, but is the power to the LEDs on the switches 12 volt dedicated or 18 volt? It's running off the DCC track power. So they're diodes, so they're pretty robust. The switches are, they say the switches can be used for either 12 volt or 24 volt. So I've got them wired up at, I think they're actually wired up at 15 volts right now. That's what I was a little unsure of. I was unsure of how the LEDs were going to perform, but they seem to do it. Yeah, I'll flip that box car up in a second. Yeah, the micro mouse car. So I got, let me turn this back on and I'll come over here. Those are the, this year's, I believe, you know, July 4th. Sorry if I can get back there. July 4th, both in N scale and in Z scale, because I got the Valentine's Day cars in N and Z as well, so I thought it'd be fun to get the those other ones. Now, how the caboose jumped the turnout without issue? Oh, now I guess it is off the track. All right, so let me pull this forward a little bit just to make sure that. Nope. Add a little bit of disconnection here. Keith is spending my money again. I mean, the switches aren't that expensive. I mean, they're reasonable. But so you don't need these switches. You could use any double pole, double throw switches. They work just fine. I just wanted an LED indicator. The LED indicator was important to me. Just because I forget to turn track power on all of the time. Thomas, are you saying that you can't hear me? No video, no sound? I think everybody else is can hear me. Yeah, I think they are good-looking switches too. I think they'll look pretty good on the fascia. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Kato's stuff. Yeah, I have mixed feelings on it. So there the train runs out of the yard. Oh, I did it again. I ran the train in the wrong direction and ran it off the track again. So one thing I'm learning is that it's hard to talk and operate a train at the same time because my brain is thinking of talking, not thinking of operating a train, and I'm finding that I am running the trains off the track. Go figure. Let's move this over to a straight part here where I can hook this up. There we go. Now we're going to go back onto, I almost drove the train off onto the benchwork. I flipped the wrong switch. There we go. Now we're going to go back onto the siding that was the first siding that I already wired up. So we should see it come right past that switch. At our train shows, we try not to talk and operate trains. Yeah, I am failing at that, miserable as well. So I need those now that I'm aware of them. Yeah, you know, I've got, let's see, automotive. Nope. Sorry, I'm trying to post the link again, and I'm failing miserably. Yeah, so I have a 6x over by staging. I have a 3x over by my 3x by industry area, and I've got a 6x over here. You know what I should probably do, just that'll make everybody's life easier, is let me see if I can pop this into the description. Oh, boy, that was interesting. Why did that do that? Okay, so yeah, if you refresh now, it should pop up down in the description. Bought some round automotive power switches with LED lights. Those work as well? Absolutely, yeah. Tina, you might get pretty darn drunk watching this if you do that. The railroad Heath applied to is watching tonight and just crumpled his resume and tossed it out, probably. This is kind of a runaround here, but I don't have the other track wired up, so I can't really run this locomotive around. But this is getting kind of excited because it's now looped in. I could now run, you know, multiple trains around. How are you going to know which switch operates what track? I don't know yet. I haven't quite come up with a scheme. What I am kind of thinking, though, is I've got 8 switches for this yard. So I am kind of thinking that one is going to be the waterway here. It'll probably then kind of maybe go, I don't know, maybe 1 should be the runaround, and then 2 should be the water, and then 3 should be the orange, 4 should be the pink. I'll figure it out, and then eventually I'll number them all, and I'll figure it out some way. I'll number something. Something's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. So my plan is get a little bit more of this done, and then start playing around with, you know, some of the operations of it, and sending different cars to different tracks and things like that. Yeah, Andy, what I'm thinking I'll do is, and this is probably more of an airplane thing than a railroad thing. Although if there are any railroaders in here that know the answer, they can answer it for me. But what I'm thinking of doing is little like signs at the entrance of each track with a number on it that's like, okay, you're now entering track 1 or you're entering track 2, and I will then use those numbers to coordinate with the different switches. The ones on the, so here's the staging yard over here. Let me just swing this around. Uh-oh. Well, that cord is not long enough right now, but you can get the idea. So the one on the staging yard is, you can kind of see it just poking in right down here, and that's going to be pretty easy, right? Because it's six switches or 6 tracks, so it'll just be 1 through 6 in one direction or the other. This one over here is going to be, there's the runaround will probably be 1, and then the double track industry will be 2, and then this single track industry over here will probably be 3. And then when we get over here to this side, I'm gonna have to figure something out. But yeah, Dave, this is definitely quite a change from the T-Track. I'm really enjoying being able to run this longer train on this layout, which I kind of could have done on the T-Track, but not really. I'm actually going to see, let's see, I'm going to put this back on the main line now, set it up back on the time saver, and see if we can't make that work. Rick Bailey with the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Mr. Rick Bailey. Really appreciate it. If people missed it in the beginning, we did some gifted memberships, which was kind of fun, which was something new on the channel. So some people got added as members through gifted memberships. We also talked about upcoming where I am going to be on new tracks modeling. So I'm going to switch this now to Motorman, and now the train should go back and do the ping pong thing. Let's check this switch right here. That switch is okay. So now that train should ping pong for a little bit. So yeah, we talked about new tracks modeling, which is coming up. Yeah, I got that. I definitely got that. We got a Facebook community out there as well. Roy Alpham, thank you so much. Roy just gifted 5 memberships as well. So we should see in the chat in a second 5 new people that are participating in the channel and in the chat will be gifted memberships. So we should see that pop up in a second. Thank you so much for that, Roy. It's a way to contribute to the channel and you know, bring new members into the community. So these cars, I'm sorry, I'm probably moving a little too fast. These are Microtrains cars. So they're new release Microtrains cars, and what they're called are their Micro Mouse series. And you're gonna make me look for it right now, aren't you? Let's see how long this is gonna take me to find, if I could find it without it taking forever. So I don't have, a lot of them are like Christmas related, so I don't really have the Christmas ones, but here is the Z scale of the Valentine's Day one that says I work with models. Joey, for those for those of us who are still unsure about DP switch wiring, can you give a 60-second rundown? Yeah, okay, sorry, yes. Oh, here we go. Don't know if this helps, but some yards have a tie painted white to mark the safe distance to leave a car between turnouts. And I definitely need to figure it out. Oh, you have to opt in for settings. There you go. I'm just collecting the red, white, and blue stuff. Yeah, and that's where I got that. That is not the first responder special. That is a, it's powered by the people. It's UP 1111. So yeah, if you haven't opted in for the gifted, do that. So let me see if I can find 2 things real quick. So Pico switch wiring. So there's a really good website, not that one. I mean, that one's good too, but I'm trying to find a different one here. So the DCC wiki is a really great place to go to look up wiring. And Pico in particular makes 3 different types of switches. They make Insulfrogs, they make Electrofrogs, and then they make Unifrogs. So Insulfrogs are the typical frogs you would see on like an Atlas switch, where it's a plastic frog. So it's completely isolated, and it works fine for like your 6-axle locomotives, but if you have any short switchers, it doesn't work so well because the short switchers don't cross the frogs. So Pico came out with Electrofrogs. The Electrofrogs electrified the frog all the way to the tip of the point rails. So these point rails here, when they connected up with the other tracks, could be out of phase. So to wire them for DCC, you always had to isolate the 2 inside frogs, but you now had an Electrofrog where you could put a frog juicer on it, so you could have a powered frog, so your shorter locomotives could run over it. Now what they've come up with, so some people used to modify Electrofrogs. They used to basically cut gaps in the points, so that makes them more DCC compatible. Yeah, so on a unifrog, let's see if they have a good picture of the unifrog here. What they have done, so you can see right here, here's them showing, so this is an electrofrog, showing the modification to make it more DCC compatible. I don't see the unifrog here, but what they essentially did is they cut across here on the unifrogs, and the frog itself became completely separate on the unifrog, and they wired across from the rail to the point so that the power flowed through. Essentially, they made it much easier to wire up their turnouts. Yeah, or you can build your own and do all your own wiring. But so the Ys, the double slips are electrofrogs. The curved turnouts are electrofrogs. The like regular turnouts are all unifrogs. So the unifrogs are basically just designed for DCC operation. And there are other manufacturers that that have them as well. So here as well, we can look up double pull, double throw switch, and I guess this is the only real thing. That doesn't look good. So a double pull, double throw switch. I don't know if you can see this here well enough. Let's zoom in a little bit, or not. So a double pull, double throw switch goes from, basically you have your two wires coming in, and then it switches both wires. Right? So single pull, single throw just has one pull, one throw. Single pull, double throw goes from one to the other. The switches, if you're using, actually I just realized these are actually double pull, single throw switches is what these actually are. They're not double pull, double throw. They're actually double pull, single throws, because I'm throwing both on and off. If you're using double pull, double throw switches on your layout, and you're using them for things like reversing polarity, or you're using them to switch from DC to DCC, I recommend getting double pull, double throw switches with a center off. So what does center off mean? Center off means that when you have a switch like this, so it's a double pull, double throw switch. So you wire up the two in the center with your incoming, and the two on the outside for the outgoing. Yeah, the other pins are for the LED, so I completely forget. But so this switch, when it's thrown to this side, it's connecting these center two pins to this side pin. And when it's on this side, it's connecting the center pins to these side pins. But, thanks Tom. Tom shows up once everything is working to give me a hard time. Oh, are they single pull, single throw? So the double pull is just the LED, right? Because it's not switching it. Yeah. I could pull some of the jumpers off and make them double pull, single throw. But yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you call them as long as you do what you want them to do. So this switch actually has three positions. It has right, it has middle, and it has left. So left, middle, and right. When it's in the middle position, it is not sending power to either side. So what that means is if you're using this to switch from one polarity to the other, or you're using this to switch from like DC to DCC, it will first disconnect the connection and then reconnect the connection. If you just have ones that don't have that center off position, when you throw them, they can technically short out when they're in the middle. So Pico double slips, I believe in code 83, right? HO scale, I think they have unifrogs now. Pico's updating a lot of their turnouts from insul frogs and electrofrogs to all being unifrogs, but it's just taking them taking them some time, but they're getting there. Some people are liking the new Walters stuff, which is great. Walters doesn't make N scale stuff. I don't know why, but if you think backwards, throw SW switch, right? Its opposite wires are hot. It's opposite of switch position. Oh, is it the other way? So when it's flipped to this side, it's actually these poles. It's probably true. Not all of them are the same. Definitely test them out before you make them. Yeah, Pico has HO and N scale. I started off using some Atlas switches, and then I switched over to Pico because I was running a lot of shorter locomotives at the time, and it wasn't working out. So I'm getting close to the end of the stream for tonight, but if I could have somebody do me a favor, if you can go to Facebook, if you can go onto the Human City Junction Facebook page, if anybody can find it, I'm curious if anybody can see whether I'm streaming over on Facebook. I think that I have been streaming this entire show to Facebook, but not a single person has shown up over on Facebook. So I don't know if it's actually running or not over on Facebook or not. I think Andy's saying he tried to join over on Facebook. Did it not let you? So I was able to post a test comment in Facebook, and it does come up. So that is a comment that I just sent from Facebook, but nobody else checked in from Facebook. So I was testing it out. I didn't know if it would work. I was curious if somebody was going to show up and surprise all of us with some comments over on Facebook. I don't know that I'm ever going to stream to Facebook again. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I know there's a large community of people over on Facebook that don't do YouTube. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that don't do Facebook. I just set up the Facebook page for my layout, as I mentioned earlier. So I thought I would give it a try. Oh, here we go. Look at this. So Andrew is over on Facebook and says it's working, and www Wigwag Workshop. Steven is over on Facebook as well. Mr. Jim is over there too. That's pretty cool. Oh, there's live closed captioning. Yeah, I want to see them try and translate what I'm saying. That would be very, very interesting. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm glad this is working. We're definitely going to get some more track laid and some wiring done this week. I'm also going to be preparing for my presentation that I'm going to do on new tracks modeling on July 13 on my time saver, the remote switching time saver layout. So definitely come check it out. Yep, Norman Rose over there. Tom Givachek's over there as well. So yeah, apparently I have figured out how to stream on both Facebook and on YouTube, which is kind of exciting to me. Roy, see, I'm doing it for your birthday, Roy. That's specifically why. No, not really. But happy birthday in advance. I will probably forget, but we'll try not. So yeah, the switches worked out. The link's in the description for the switches. There's other links in the description for other various things. Please consider supporting the channel. It helps me do these crazy little projects that sometimes work out and sometimes don't work out. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about